after that, I got a chance to work. I have worked on RESTful services for exposing uh, our web services. Then in that process, I've learned and I've worked on Amazon API Gateway, AWS Lambda, and also S3 bucket. So later after that, we had a requirement for a mobile application also, which will be served based on our monolith in-book application. So for that, we started working on Android application. For some time, we worked over it and we dropped the idea. Uh, so then we were thinking of making a PWA, progressive web app. So for that application, we have tried multiple technology, multiple front-end technology, like Polymer, Google Polymer. We have worked on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We have worked on React and Angular. So these are the multiple things, multiple technologies we have implemented, and we have simultaneously worked on and implemented that PWA. So that PWA, by using PWA, it was easy for us, like for iOS devices as well as Android devices. On mobile, they were able to log in and check the details. So that PWA is completely dependent on our applications web services. So these are the things which I have worked
Okay. So sorry, I didn't get it. So how many years of experience you are having?
on. 8.5.
8.5. Okay, okay. So shall we begin with the core Java first?
Yeah.
So can you just let me know what is the garbage collection in Java?
See, while working with Java, everything is like object-oriented programming. So for each and everything, we create variables, and all those variables will be bound to that particular object. So as we grow on, as the application grows, we will be creating so many objects in that, and we sometimes we may not uh, need some of the objects which are not used also, and there is no reference for those for objects also. So for that, there is an inbuilt mechanism provided by the Java that is called a Java garbage collection. So we can force sometimes if we think we need to be some objects to be garbage collected, we can force the garbage collector to collect do the garbage collection also. So it will clean up the memory which where the objects are not still references.
So all the objects are getting garbage collected, or if in case explicitly you have to do some garbage collection mechanism, what would be your approach?
uh, Actually in our process which we are not using, if multitasking windows we are using, if we are closing that particular window and regarding whatever the objects which are related to that window, we are setting it to null and doing the garbage collection. So sometimes even the garbage collection may become hectic for it. It can be user's choice. If they want to do it, they can do, or else let the JPM do it for you.
Okay. So can you just explain me what is composition and aggregation?
Uh, Composing a class is like normal attributes. Keeping in a class is like composing a class. Whereas aggregating is like even there is like a address field that can be a uh, separate class. It can have again separate properties in that. So if we try to put that into one user's thing, then that is known as aggregating that into that class.
Okay. Can you just explain me the memory model?
Like there will be heap memory where all the objects will be stored, and
Mm-hmm.
there is stack memory where the objects are referenced into it, and there is a one string pool constant string concept school, where all the strings are stored. But if we create a string by using new keyword instead of just the literals, that will be still stored into the heap memory.
Okay, okay. So we'll go with the Java 8 first. So do you know what is this meta space?
Metaspace. Uh, can you give a hint? I read about it, but I'm not able to recall.
Okay, it is something related to JVM. There is some change in meta space, the memory management changes. Okay, so what is the default method and what is the relevance of the those default methods?
uh, Default method is like, as we know, Java introduced some main major changes in it. Can you mute? My voice is getting repetitive. So, Java made changes such as streams and what we call lambda functions, functional interfaces, this kind of thing. So when they introduced streams, they didn't change anything. They put the code into the existing interfaces, and also it is like backward compatible kind of thing. So the existing code also they did not change. So that process they made all available for the general user also by introducing default inside the interface. So previously, up to Java 7, we were able to declare the methods in the interface only, but we were not able to define the methods. But from Java 8 onwards, we can define the methods also, but we have to use the keyword default. By using default keyword, we can define the methods inside the interface also.
Okay, okay,
So that is the case with streams, and when streams got implemented by using the default methods inside the existing collection interfaces.
so what is the difference between map and flat map?
Uh, Never worked out, never understood.
Do you know what is a parallel stream in Java 8?
Yeah, parallel stream is like when you want to let's understand the concept of a stream first. See, stream is something like the continuous flow of the to uh, data to process or do anything. So in case parallel streams are something like, instead of one flow of data, we can create two or any parallelly we can do the streaming. That is the basic logic behind the parallel streams. Two flows will be two flows, or any parallel streams can be done.
So, okay, okay. So we'll move on to the Spring. So you said you are working on the REST APIs also. So how are you authenticating your APIs in Spring Framework?
By using Spring security dependency, if you add into the pom.xml, then the default default authentication mechanism will be added to that, with one default user and password auto generated. But if you want to have our own custom authentication on top of that, we need to override. We need to extend the web security configurer adapter class, and we need to provide whatever the roles we have, like admin roles or anything, and by using and matches, whatever the routes we have. So for that particular routes, which roles can access, like if there are some set of 10 routes we have, out of which only two routes are for user, and four routes are for managers, and four routes are for only for admin. So we can specify which routes are for which roles. In that way, we can achieve the authentication, and the configuration can be done into the database, the username and password, the roles.
Okay, so it is a role-based authentication you guys are doing. Okay.
Yeah,
So any idea about JWT or to?
JSON Web Tokens, we are starting to work over it. We have we get the clear idea whether there is any security loophole or not, because as the JWT token will be stored on the client browser, we were having a little hesitation to do that, but we gone through that. It will be encrypted by using one primary key on the server side, and it will be stored, and it will be encrypted also. But still, we are thinking of doing that. We extensively worked on the normal string security.
Okay. So, how you guys are enabling a transaction like in your APIs, like?
Uh, the flow of the APIs you want me to explain.
So there must be some transaction management you guys must be doing in your application. So.
Through Spring repositories we are doing. Initially, before implementing the Spring repository, we used entity manager and using what we call JPA containers were there. For that, we manage the transaction in that way. After that, now we are doing much of the transaction based on by using Spring repository.
So what is the advantage of using JPA?
Uh, it will be like binding whatever the entities we have in our object-oriented programming model to the database model, and that will be persisting with the database, like much of the connection things, and also mapping exact columns into the database. All those things will be taken care by JPA, Java Persistence API.
Mm-hmm. So how are you guys like you are aware about the mappings like many to one, one to many.
Many to
So
one to many.
how you are achieving many to one?
By using the annotations, like if there are uh, if there are like invoices which are generated by one, let's suppose there are transactions which are generated by one particular uh, like sales will be there. That particular sale is reference to particular employee. So which employee is there? So one employee will be mapped can be mapped to multiple what we say sales. So in that we'll be having many to one annotation to this photograph, and from here one to many mapping in the both the photos we have to do that particular thing with that annotation.
Mm-hmm. So in the microservices architecture, how are we managing the transaction?
In that we never worked with the transaction. Now currently we are working with the data fetching between the different microservices.
Mm-hmm.
Transactions we didn't do that. We are
Okay.
spending
So
in the
any
monolith
idea
application only
about
we are doing the
two-phase
transaction.
commit and anything two-phase commit, you know?
Two-phase commit and all. No idea. Can you give a hint? I may be know.
Yeah, so this is the one way of having a transaction management, two-phase commit, access standards. So
Okay. Sorry, I'm not having the idea.
no problem. So, like, if you have to design one portal for the online document signature, so what would be your approach in that case?
Document signature in the sense PDF signature, huh?
Yes, online document signature. You can consider it is like a digital signature.
Digital signature. So we have like authorities which provide the private keys and public keys for digital signatures and all. So for digital signing from the authority, we have to get that certificate like .pfx file. We'll get it. So after getting that particular file, we have bouncy castle dependencies in map. By using bouncy castle dependencies, we and in bouncy castle Maven dependency only we get a uh, doc signer or some classes there. By using that bouncy castle dependency, we can keep that certificate into that, and we can do the digital signature to the PDF document.
Mhm. But this is what you are explaining me about the digital signature process. But if you have to design that portal, what?
Portal. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, So let us consider only we need to do the uploading the document. After uploading the document, we'll store it into the some of our servers memory where which is location. In that location, again after the upload is done, we'll check whether the file is available or not. Then we'll do the digital signature and all. Then afterwards, after signing that document, the signed document will have a separate copy. So after that, we'll provide an option to download that thing, so the user can download. And again, if that is like for a single company, single process. But whereas if it is like a public service, like anybody can come and upload their certificate and do. Uh, so then we'll provide like two things, that to upload their own certificate over there, and also the document which they want to sign. So, to after doing two uploads, we'll verify whether those two documents are present, certificate as well as the PDF document is present or not. Then after that, we'll do the signature, the record previously which I said. Then we'll after generating the signed document, we'll provide an option to download. That way, we can do that. If there is any mechanism if we want to do authentication or anything, we can provide also.
Okay. You need to write one program. So to check whether a number is Armstrong number or not. If you are not aware about the Armstrong, it is something like if I pass 153 as a input. So if you will see 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube. Together, if you will sum up all these three cubes, so it will come as a 153. The sum will come as a 153. So you need to write a program to check this number is Armstrong or not.
Okay.
So I have enabled the editor for you.
How can I? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fast.
Okay. Can you just explain?
So what I'm doing is I'm converting that into a string, and for that string, each character I'm taking it out and again converting that into an integer. After that, I'm doing a cube of that thing, and adding it to some sum over here. So
Mm-hmm.
similarly, all the character each digit will get it, and all that cube it will added into the sum. And after that, finally after finishing that loop, we are checking whether the sum is equal to the number which is passed. If it is equal, then we are returning that's true, or else it is false.
So in the microservices, are you aware about the CAP theorem? CAP,
Aware
CAP theorem.
cap theorem? No.
Okay. Any idea about the saga design pattern?
No, I've heard about that, but didn't work on the. Currently, my our understanding is up to the Eureka clients and Eureka servers, how the client server happens, how the client microservice to microservice communication happen by using a REST template
Mm-hmm.
and like Histrix configuration still we are working on,
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
fault tolerance, resilience, and all.
Okay.
Saga
So,
pattern, we went to one class and one something we tutorial we have seen, but
Okay. So what
as
is
of
the
now, I don't have much of understanding.
orchestration and choreography approach? Orchestration and choreography, any idea?
Orchestration is like having a different set of applications for different purposes, like what the app is giving the health metrics, and how many services are live, how many services are, is there any service which is taking so much of time, all this configuring for different application, that is like orchestration.
Mm-hmm. Choreography approach?
I don't know.
Okay, okay. Do you know what is a closure in JavaScript?
Closures.
Yes.
Yeah. Closure is a pattern where we write function inside a function so that the uh, value will not be get publicly available.
Okay. So, how will you define that?
We can if we are sending some value to one function, to in that one again, like in functional programming, we can write, we can execute one more function inside that. So there, what happens is their local variables will be again will be access to other thing, but not the reverse way. Something like that. Exactly, I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
that. That concept is like closures in JavaScript.
Okay. And what is a call and apply? Do you know what is the difference?
Call and apply, like calling the function, and for the functions only we'll do this function. We can call the function or we can apply. Difference. I forgot.
Mm,
Can you give a hint? I'll explain.
actually,
Like virtual DOM is the thing. It is actually the concept was introduced in React. So the virtual DOM is kind of like whatever the DOM which we have. React maintains exactly the same copy in the browser itself. So whenever there are some sort of changes into the DOM, uh, so it will update first into the virtual DOM, and instead of completely updating into the actual DOM, what it does is it just updates the exactly same which part of the page has, which part of the DOM has to be updated. So in that way, that is helpful for the sake of, instead of loading the whole page and instead of refreshing the whole DOM, we can cut the loading time, and also like data exchange in between. All these things, there will be performance betterment of the performance will be there by using this concept. So that's the main USP of React.
okay. So I have one more question. The transactional annotation in Spring Boot?
Transactional annotation in
Yes.
Spring.
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. So have you ever come across any performance issue in your application?
Yeah, if there are bulk of the data, then it was taking time, so there were performance issue. Then we tried it solving by having multi-threaded programming by using threads. Like
Okay.
normally we pick up the code, and I'm not much good at the multi-threading, but that uh, part we tried to solve using the threads.
Mm-hmm. So any idea about the thread dump, heap dump?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. How many ways we can create a thread?